Right, everyone, before we get cracking, then obviously my name's James. This the good looking chap is Adam. If you haven't met us before, if you haven't heard of us before, from GoldBusters, we have to do a disclaimer before we get started. We always do, just to make sure that everyone understands exactly what we do and what we don't do, and who we are. We're not financial advisors, we are financial educators. And that has been our aim right from day one. We don't believe in financial advice because there's too much bad advice, actually, we believe, out there. We believe in empowering people with information, with education, with information. And we believe that everybody's quite capable of making, well, everybody's quite capable and should be making their own decisions, and not be reliant on anybody else, especially should not be reliant on the government. So that's what we're all about, is financial education, financial awareness, sharing information with people, not keeping it to ourselves, but sharing it with you, telling you things that you should have been taught in school, telling you things that's kept from you, deliberately kept from you, we believe. And that's what we're all about, empowering families to make their own choices and empowering families to get themselves to a better place financially, to be financially independent, or whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't mean being a millionaire, by the way. We're not about that. It's about being debt-free for starters, and not ever having to worry about money again. You know, that would be nice, wouldn't it, for most people? Most people would totally agree with that. So that's what we're about. We're not financial advisors, we're financial educators. Is the big difference. We will not give you advice. We'll give you direction and show you what we do, and then you just make your choice. So tonight, if I'm missing anything out, Adam,
I always say, you know, for us, our job is to do ourselves out of a job as quick as we can. That we you know, give you guys the information, and that, like James said, we don't keep it to ourselves, so that you go, great, thanks for the info, don't need you guys anymore. I get it. And I can see exactly what you're talking about. We don't want you. We don't want, like, we're actually very camera shy, actually, believe it or not. We you know, we're happy to be on here to give the information, but we'd rather not be on camera. So we're doing this literally to get the information out, and then hopefully you guys can then take it away and teach other people. And you know, if people are taught this early enough, then we'll not be needed, and we can scurry away back off camera and be in our man cave somewhere. But yeah, that's what we want to do.
I mean, I personally still have to wind myself up to get on screen. I don't like it. I don't like going on screen. I don't like doing the videos really too much. I'd rather not be. So
it's necessary, though, right?
It's necessary. We have to do it to get the information out there to people. We wouldn't be able to help you unless we did. So we have to get out there. So tonight we're going to be just touching on pensions tonight, because most people are actually right now asking about switching. They're very keen on switching between metals. We're going to talk about the gold-silver ratio and switching. But just before we go into that, I'm just going to touch on pensions, and this is for mainly the US citizens. If there's anybody from the US on here now, we have partnered up with a company over there. Basically, when we first started out doing this, we weren't able to help people in the US, but we had a lot of people asking us about pensions, because people are rightly worried about pensions. They're worried stiff about their pension losing value, or losing it completely. We're not saying that could happen. We don't know what could happen, but I wouldn't feel safe having a pension myself personally, unless I had precious metals within it. That's just me. Again, we're not trying to tell you what to do or whatever, but that's just the way we feel. But yeah, a lot of people were inquiring. So at the time, we weren't able to help anybody. So it was a bit frustrating. But we have partnered up with a reputable company now in the US, and if people get in touch, then we point you in their direction. And we've had lots of feedback from them, from customers, saying they're really good. They're really good. They know what they're doing. They specialize in that, don't they, Adam? They actually specialize in helping people with pensions and pensions and precious metals. That's what they do day in, day out. So they do a really good job. Like I said, we've had really good reviews from them. So yeah, if you want to know more about that, they're not going to try and sell you anything either. We've had lots of feedback. We've had feedback saying they don't try and pressure you into anything. They'll help you step by step and take you through it. Even if you just end up buying gold and not putting it in a pension, whatever, you know. But just get in touch with us and we'll point you in the right direction. That's the best way. That's for people in the US. We're still looking for somebody in the UK actually right now. to help us. But again, it takes us time to find the right people, the right companies, because not everybody out there has got your best interests at heart, you see. So we have to make sure we get the right people to work with Adam, haven't we? Because it'll come back on us, wouldn't it? They have to have the right ethos, the right thinking, they have to have integrity for starters, and actually care about the customers more than themselves. Put the customers first. Otherwise, we won't work with them. Simple. But it takes a long time to find the right people to work with. It took us 17, 18 months to find these guys, the guys that we work with in the precious metals arena, mainly work with. It took us a long, long time to find them, to find the right people to work with that we could trust. Anything else, Adam, do you want to add?
Yeah, I think it's worth saying as well that we really take this stuff seriously. We do get people saying, because through GoldBusters we've built a really great community of people that are passionate about precious metals and education and helping themselves and others. And we do get people saying, oh well, I'm doing this X, Y, and Z, and that'd be really good for your community. And like we just want to put everyone through like a real stringent process to work out. It's great, it's easy to say, but is it actually good for people, and is it good for the long term? And anything that we put our name to, that we want to make sure that it is actually good, and that it's something that we do for ourselves and we'd be happy for any of our family to do. That's the real test, isn't it? It's all right saying, hey, this is a nice idea, but it's something totally different to say, hey, this is what I do for myself and my family. And that's the only way we'd do anything. So there's one hell of a lot of a heck of a lot of research involved, and then we have to spend a lot of time doing it ourselves before we'll even put it anywhere near you. We want to sleep at night and we're here to do the right thing. It's as simple as that. That's our motto. Do the right thing for you, for the customers, 100% of the time. And that's what we stick to. There's been a couple of people I've spoken to today, actually, and the way we do things hasn't been the best option for them. And I'm not sure, blowing our own trumpets and saying, oh yeah, we do everything right all the time. But I just think if we know there's a better option for people and it's not how we do it, then we just tell you. There's no point, we're all human beings at the end of the day. Right, shall we look at this gold-silver ratio stuff? Because I think we'll
get into it.
We're actually going to look at this on a level that's slightly different to how we've looked at it before. So
I think that's what most people are actually sat here going, like, shut up, you two. Let's just get onto the switches.
Let's get on with it. Stop telling us how
get on with the switches.
So for any of you that don't know about the gold-silver ratio, we're actually doing a workshop next Friday, next Friday, all about the gold-silver ratio. And we're going to go through it from beginning to end. A lot of people have asked us about it, and it's been something that we've gone on a journey with of discovering ourselves and working out how to use it for ourselves and seeing the power in it. And I think it has huge, huge potential. Well, we know it does. Rightly so, a lot of people are interested. So we're going to do a full top-down, we're calling it a workshop rather than a webinar, because we want people to interact with us, ask questions, and really get a grip of what it is, how it works, how you can use it to your advantage, and put yourself in a better place, just from a bit of knowledge. It's very... once you get it, it's quite easy to work out, but it took us a few times of going through it before we fully grasped it.
Oh yeah, a lot of times.
We've got very, very thick skulls. So we're gonna do the workshop next Friday. You can go to goldbusters.co.uk, click on workshop, and register your space for that. We're also going to record it as well. So if you can't make it that time, we'll send you the recording. Something that we're going to talk about on that workshop as well is some people don't want to switch, or can't switch metals, depending on where they are in the world. But there's still a way that they can use the ratio to benefit themselves when working out what to buy. One of the first questions that we always get asked is, what should I buy? Should I buy gold? Should I buy silver? Or how is gold looking? Is it up? Is it down? And it's quite a difficult question to answer, because
and we're not allowed to answer it, are we? We're not allowed to tell people what to do, so we don't do that, do we?
No, we don't want to tell you. We don't want to tell you what to do, and also it's really difficult to say, well, is gold up right now? But up compared to what? What's your frame of reference? Is it up compared to 30 years ago? Yeah, it's massively up. But in 10 years' time, where it is now could be right down on the graph. So it's a difficult one to answer. But the gold-silver ratio gives you a really good idea of referentially where gold is compared to silver and where silver is compared to gold. And you'll see in a second that it just gives you a basis to make a decision on. It's not the be all and end all, but it gives you something. So let me share my screen with you and we'll go through how you can use it. So can you see this where it says gold silver ratio? How many ounces of silver can you get with 1 ounce of gold? Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So for those of you that have never heard of this before and you think, what the heck are you talking about? The gold silver ratio asks one question. It says, for how many ounces of silver can you get with 1 ounce of gold? So you got 1 ounce of gold in your hand. If you sold it today, how many ounces of silver could you buy with that money, with the value? Okay. There'll be some people that hate maths and graphs and all this kind of stuff. We're going to go there, so just hold on. The gold silver ratio is calculated simply by saying the price of gold per ounce divided by the price of silver per ounce, or the price of gold per gram, doesn't really matter, divided by the price of silver per gram. And that just gives you a number. Now, it's the number that's produced, for example, 75, that's what I think it's nearly 77 today. It's not a price. It's two prices kind of squished together. Yeah. So it's the price of price of gold compared to the price of silver. And what that 75 is saying is that if you've got 1 gram of gold, you can get for that 1 gram or 1 ounce, 75 grams or ounces of silver. So gold is 75 times more expensive than silver at that point. Okay. If you've got any questions about this, please put them in the chat box and we'll answer them as we're going through it. Because it's really important that you get this from a foundation, because the other stuff that we do will only build on that. And if you don't get at this level, please don't think that don't be worried if you don't understand it. We didn't understand it the first 5 or 6 times. We were like, this makes no sense whatsoever. So please ask. Don't be worried about it. No such thing as a silly question. I know you hear that in school, but really, you're here to learn. So this is times for you. So that's the gold silver ratio. And over time, it just moves. It moves up and it moves down. So this is what it looks like over time. Let me just move this to one side. Okay, so this graph. And as you can see that it goes up, it goes down, but it never just goes kind of up in a straight line, or even like the price of gold has. It never kind of just goes up and to the right. It bobs around. And the reason for that is it would never really go up indefinitely, because what that would be saying is the price of gold is going up and the price of silver is just staying the same. And as we know, both move kind of together to some degree. But generally over time, they both move up, but at different rates. So it's never going to be straight up or straight down and never kind of bounce back. Okay. The way I think about it is there's kind of an average over the last 10, 15 years, and that's been about 60, between about 60 and 65, something like that. So the average 60 and 65, I imagine that like an elastic band. So if you were holding an elastic band kind of looped around both of your fingers, and if you pull that elastic band up, the more you pull it up, the more it wants to go back to this kind of equilibrium, this kind of point of where there's the least tension. And if you pull it down, it also wants to go back up. And this is kind of how the gold-silver ratio works, that when it becomes overextended and at some of its kind of peaks, it's out of balance and it wants to snap back. And you can see it's kind of done that. This is not an exact science, but it's kind of done that. So if you look at this line here of 60, let me put this kind of laser pointer on. You can see this line of kind of 60. It's kind of gone above, it's come back down, it's gone a bit below, it's come back up, and it's interacting with this line. So when it's gone right up here, it's kind of come back down again. So there's some sense in saying that. Now, the way that we use the gold-silver ratio to work out, what we're going to show you is how to use the gold-silver ratio to work out what to buy. So let's put this 60 line on and you'll see how it's interacted. Now at 60, that would be the middle level. So it's not really saying buy gold and it's not saying buy silver. It's just in the middle. Mm. We're going to look at a level of 80 and a level of 40. And again, not an exact science. This is just a guide. At a level of 60, we would say that there's no clear conviction to either gold or silver. So if you see the ratio at 60 and you're wanting to buy metals and you're not sure which to buy or in what percentages, then we would say 50-50 between gold and silver makes sense, because the gold-silver ratio is saying, look, we're at the average. This is kind of what it's been. There's no clear direction either way. Okay. If it was at 80 and above, then we would look at 100% silver. And some people say, look, I'm not really bothered about the ratio. I just want to buy gold. Gold seems right to me. In my research, I just want to buy gold. Totally fine to do that. But if you want some reference point according to the ratio, then this is what we look at. So at a level of 80, we would say 80 and above, buy 100% silver. Because what the ratio is telling you there is that silver is cheap relative to gold. Mm. So you always want more of the cheap metal so that you've got more at a lower price.
It's more value for your money, I don't know, isn't it? It's probably the best way to explain it.
And then think about the elastic band. You know, when it's pulled up, that's when you want to buy your silver, because at some point it's relatively cheap here. It's going to come back down and it's going to increase in value. So that's basically what it's saying. On the flip side of that, at 40, a ratio of 40 and below, we would say 100% gold, and you've got the total opposite. So if the ratio is below 40 or below, gold is relatively cheap compared to silver. And you always want to buy what's cheap. You know, I guess that's drilled into us. Everyone loves a bargain. Below 40, gold is a bargain. Above 80, silver's a bargain. Mm. And then in between, you might say, well, look, what about between 60 and 80 and 60 and 40? And this is where you can have a percentage split. So from 60 being at 50-50 gold to silver, the closer it gets to 80, the more you want to shift to silver. So you might start with 50-50, then as it goes up, let's say at 70, halfway in between, you might be 75 silver, 25 in gold. And the closer it gets, like now it's 77, you probably want to be like, what, 85 silver, just about 85 silver and 15% gold.
Yeah, can I just give you an example there, Adam?
Yeah, go ahead.
I personally started buying in 2014, I think it was 2015 at the latest. Mm. And so if you look at if you look at the dates there, it was 60 above, wasn't it? 2015. So, but I started out just buying gold, and then as the years went on, I bought less gold and more silver, less gold and more silver. And at the minute, I'm only buying 30% gold at the minute myself personally, and I'm buying 60% silver, and I buy a 5% platinum and 5% palladium, just a little bit of them. But yeah, so I've actually moved towards silver, but I didn't just move for this. I just seen if you look into the uses of silver, it's massive. But we're not here to talk about that tonight anyway. I just see a bigger future for silver, so I was keen on silver. Not initially, but like I said, over time, I've become more keen on buying more silver anyway. But if you look at the ratios, it's for us personally, we're not telling you what to do. That's what we're doing. Does that make sense, Adam? Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think from here you can see, looking in recent years from say 2013, 14, the ratio has favored silver. So for a decent chunk of time, it's favored silver quite a bit. And this is why on a quantitative level, people are talking a lot about silver, because you can see relative to gold, it's cheap. And again, thinking about this elastic band kind of analogy, it's got room to grow compared to gold. So does this make sense? Have you got any questions about this? Because I think this is really important. And if you can understand this and you are wanting to switch between metals, then you're kind of half the way there just by grasping this and being able to navigate it for yourself. Let me just have a look on here if we've got any questions.
This helps everybody, Adam, doesn't it? It helps everybody, whether they can or want to switch or not. It'll help them decide what to buy, won't it? No.
Yeah, if you've not got a preference for any personal or sentimental reasons, and you're just wanting to make a good investment decision, then this can help anyone. Someone just asked here, does the ratio take into account VAT on silver? That's a great question. This ratio doesn't take into account VAT on silver. And the reason for that is that there are ways that you don't have to pay the VAT on silver.
Legally.
All
we don't pay VAT on silver.
It's all to do with how you store metals, and it's something we've talked about before, something called a bonded warehouse. And if you store silver, palladium and platinum in this certain type of vault, then you don't have to pay the VAT. So you just want to reduce those costs as much as you can. Otherwise, when you are looking at switching metals and doing all this kind of stuff, if you've got to take VAT into account, I mean, in the UK, for anyone that doesn't know, that's just a tax. It's just a sales tax. It's 20% in the UK. Well, it's an uphill battle because you've got to make 20% just to cover that tax, and you're just paying it to the government. You know, I always say to people when we're chatting to them that the silver's no shinier when you pay the VAT. Just because you've paid that, it looks the same, it does the same thing. You just pay money to the government. So if there's a way around that, it's always popular.
And that's what I was doing when I first started out personally, because I didn't know any better. So obviously, when I found out about this, I went out and told everyone. And that's just what we do. We share it with you. You know, it's if you can get 20% more silver by not paying VAT legally, then why would you not do it?
Yeah. So someone said they're interested in learning about a bonded warehouse. That's fine. Just get in contact with us and we'll show you how that works. And it's pretty simple. It's just storing it in a certain place. Question: how regular is it? How regular is it realistic to check and swap, or do you wait for a big move? So this is really interesting, and this is getting a little bit more into switching metals to benefit. So we use the exact same information to switch between the metals, and it generates you more metals. So very briefly, if you on here let's say it's a level of 80, and you bought silver because you thought, silver is very cheap and it's favoring cheap silver. And then when the ratio comes back down below that mark, you switch. So let's say you started with gold, you've switched to silver, let's say 80, and then you've switched back to gold when it comes down below 80. You'd be left with physically more gold than you started with. You start with gold, go to silver, go back to gold. And this is what we're going to go into massive detail on the workshop next week. As far as checking and when to swap and all this kind of stuff, there's you can do it a few different ways. If you want to take advantage of a big move, then obviously it's going to take longer. You're going to make more from it, but it's going to take longer. If you and me and James were chatting about this today, actually, and just kind of running some numbers and looking at some ideas. The chances of gold going from, say, 30 to 120 might happen once in your lifetime, and you might be looking at it here. So if your targets are, I'm going to switch at this point and this point, 120 and 30, you might never see them. If you did hit those marks, you'd profit massively. So it's a bit of a compromise between the frequency of those points occurring and the amount of profit that you make. For example, you could be better off doing 5 switches, profit, and from each one of those you profit 2% each time, than waiting for one 10% switch. Because as the ratio moves, it kind of moves up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, up a bit, up a bit, down a bit. So it's doing a lot of little move. Well, if you can kind of profit from each of those, because it's hovering around your target mark, then you're probably better doing that than just waiting for one big move. But it's each to their own. And
gold and silver is a long-term thing for 99% of people, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I know it is for us. It's forever. I'm never going to stop, and I'm going to pass mine on to my kid, to my little one, even though he's got his own depot, his own gold, but it's going to be passed on to future generations. We're never going to stop. But I personally will be sticking between the 80 and 60, maybe even 75 and 65 myself. But sorry, 75, yeah. 75 and 65, 75 and whatever. Yeah, I'll be between 80 and 60 anyway, personally.
Yeah, and that's just from the data that, if the whole market changes and the average over the next 10 years is 90, because everything changes, then you just adjust your strategy around that mark. So just go with whatever the data is saying. Someone said here, talking about switching, does set and forget not exist anymore? Yeah, so there is an option for people to do switching between metals using the company that we use to buy metals for ourselves, where you can do it automatically. It's not 100% automated, and you don't just go, right, make me more metals. You have to set the thing going, but it will, you tell it when to do the first switch, and then it will do the second switch for you without you having to keep a track of it. And you'll just get an email one day while you're, making tea or whatever you're doing, and it'll say, yep, your metals have been switched back and you've made an extra 5%. So if that's something that interests you, get in contact with us, and we'll show you how you can do that and what's possible. So it is possible to do that.
We're very excited about this, by the way, everyone, because we've never heard of anybody else doing this. Never heard of anybody else doing this. We speak to many companies, or we have done in the past, and a lot of them don't even know what it is. They might have heard of it before, but they don't really understand it, do they, Adam?
No, and I think hearing about it, understanding it, and then actually doing it is, and being able to do it without doing a full kind of, so the typical way, if you had a bar of gold and you wanted to switch it into a bar of silver, you would have to sell that bar of gold into cash, get that cash, then buy silver, and then wait for the ratio to change, sell your silver into cash, and then with that cash, buy gold again. Very inefficient. The more steps you've got, the more inefficient it is. You've got to change things so many times.
You're paying for the transactions, aren't you, really? You're paying for doing it, aren't you?
Yeah, you're paying at every level.
Yeah.
The way that we can do it so efficiently and the way that it makes sense is that we get rid of the cash element. So you don't have to go into cash every time. You just go from one metal to another and then back again. So you miss a lot of these steps out where there's a loss. So it makes sense to do it. There is a small cost. So as long as you're making above that with your switching, you're fine. But you're not going to make like 20, 30, 40% just to break even. It's more like, 5-6%. So, if you want to make 5%, as long as you're making 10% in total, 5% for your fees or 6%, and then the rest is yours. So it's very efficient to switch that way. And I think that's why a lot of people don't look at it, because if you have to pay VAT or you have to go to cash every time, what's the point? You're going to be looking for these 30 to 120 swings that don't happen very often just to make a profit that's interesting. Is that making sense to everyone? Or have we just spoken for 20 minutes and you go, I know less about metals now than I did before?
Yeah. Please just watch it back though, because we will be sharing this on our YouTube channel. So hopefully we'll get it out tomorrow. So you'll be able to watch it back again anyway if you don't understand something. Yeah. And you'll be able to jump on the 27th. If you go to our website, just click on workshop and register for that, and you can join us then. We'll be going through everything with you then.
Yeah, we'll be going through this again as well, because I think it's worth seeing again, and you'll see it in the full picture, and we'll go through some slides of switching and how that works with the same, using the same information. A couple of questions that have come up. Cost of switching. Yeah, so between gold and silver, it's about between 5 and 6%, something like that, which is incredibly small. When you look at it, sounds like, well, it possibly sounds like it's a lot, but it really isn't when you consider the cost of buying gold, selling gold, buying silver, selling silver, then buying gold again. To do all of that, that's for a full cycle, starting at gold, going to silver, coming back to gold, 5-6%. It's really nothing. And if you think about it, these moves to make 10%, which would give you like a 4 or 5% profit, they occur quite often. And it doesn't have to move that far really for you to get that. You could get in and, get a few 4 or 5%, even if you did 2 of those a year, 2, 4, 5% increases a year, you're winning. If you can increase the amount of metals you've got by 5-10% a year, it's a great position to be in. Don't forget,
it'll end up being the equivalent of buying it below spot, won't it? Depending on what you get, but you'll end up getting your gold and silver below spot price. Yeah,
below the market price, which you can't do. You can't just buy it below the market price, but you can trade your way so you're in a position that you have. Also, you can protect yourself from the downside. So if let's say the market goes down 5% in a year, but you generated 10% more metals that year through switching, you win. Put simply, you win. By looking at these ratios, you can kind of, to some degree, remove yourself from price, because the long-term picture with price of metals is up and to the right, that it's going to go up in value. They're going to go up over the long term, 5 years or more. That's what we say as a rough guide. So if you know the price is going to go up, short-term fluctuations, you take them on the chin, and you just keep building your pot of metals so that you've got more when it does go up. And if it goes down, then you're protected. You've got a cushion.
It's very similar to what I used to do in the property world. I used to help people. I used to buy houses for people, for soldiers initially, and I used to show them how to increase value or how to get something for nothing, basically, how to protect themselves from a market crashing, how to increase value in that house. So if the market did crash, they weren't going to get kicked in the backside. And it's very similar. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. We were chatting about it before and saying it's like buying a house, buying a 3-bedroom house and adding another bedroom. So even if the market goes down, you've added some value. The only thing is adding bedrooms to houses has a limit. You can't just indefinitely add bedrooms. Whereas your metal portfolio, there's no limit. You can grow that to the moon, no problem. And this takes something like precious metals, which is a very passive investment. You just buy the metals and wait. When we speak to people, they're very excited and they want to get going and they're like, yeah, we want to do this. And then we buy the metals and then it's like a bit of a come down, because what do you do then? Well, you wait for 5 years or more. This brings an active element where you can have some input into your portfolio and you can actually dictate how it grows.
I've actually been pleasantly surprised, Adam, by the feedback we've had, by the amount of people that are actually interested in this. I didn't think as many people would be interested than what there is. Yeah,
I think anytime that you can make free metals, I mean, if I saw it on a bus shelter somewhere, I'd be ringing the number, make free metals. Why not?
A lot of people think it's too good to be true, though, don't they? And they don't even bother looking at it. The mindset. Depends, yeah. I
think the fact that you don't have to put your hand in your pocket to get more metals is the sweetest part about it. You're just moving between the metals and having physically more at the end of the day than when you started. And who cares how long it takes? If I can make 10% more and I've not had to put my hand in my pocket and it takes 2 years, so what? It's 10% more than I would have had. And I've just sat there. It's not like earned income that I've had to put the hours in to do it. I've just moved between the metals, just made an educated decision that this is the time to move and this is the time to move back. And it's worked really well. And
it's literally a press of a few buttons, Adam, too, isn't it? It's literally, you have to do very little to make it happen.
You do. Let me just look at some of these questions to get these answered. 1 second. Is there a cost to switching? Yeah. So between the way we do it, gold to silver and back to gold, it's between 5 and 6% that's the cost. It's built into the price, so it's not something, again, you put your hand in your pocket for. But as long as you're profiting more than that, you win again. Someone's asked, can you recommend a company in Australia? If it's to do with switching, again, we've not seen another company that does this other than the one we work with.
But we don't know.
There might be. Let's not rule it out. We've not seen them yet, and we do keep our eyes peeled, and we have people coming to us to compare companies as well. So unfortunately we don't know anyone that can do this, but you can actually buy metals living in Australia and switch with the company that we use. So if you'd like to do that, let us know. Is this only referring to metals stored in a vault? Yes. Doing this in the traditional sense, and by that I mean buying, if you had bars in your home. First of all, if you've got silver in your home, you're paying the VAT. And if you've only got gold in your home and you wanting to switch to silver, there's going to be like a ton of armored trucks driving up and down motorways delivering different metals to people, and it's logistically not possible. So yes, they've got to be vaulted metals, got to be stored, and just make sure you do that the right way, and make sure that you own the metals if they are in storage.
Our way is very slick and efficient, isn't it, Adam? Literally, it's done there and then for you. Press for a few buttons, like we said.
Yep. Question here, is a certain level for it to be automated? Yeah, there's a minimum purchase amount for it to be automated, which is 20,000 euros of purchased metals. So you can still do it manually if you've got less than that. And because it's like James said, it's not happening. You're not sat there up all night with your coffee and your Red Bull, ready to click on your mouse. It's a more long-term thing. Doing it manually is fine. I would have no problems doing that. and that's what we've done. The automated stuff's something very new that's coming out.
And it's very easy to find out what the gold silver ratio is. Very easy. You can find out within seconds by going on Google to find out what it is. And then you can just go and switch if you want to. And actually, you could build up to that 20,000 anyway if you wanted it automated. If you've made a few switches, it might have built your actual pot to 20,000 anyway. But yeah, there's like I said, you don't have to have 20,000. You can do it, with anything below that. Yeah, with a lot. Well,
yeah. Other questions that are coming in. Is there a graph where you can set alerts and a spreadsheet that will work out what the ratio needs to be to make 10%? We've thought about this quite a lot because we want to help you as much as possible. And if we can have like a real kind of cookie cutter solution that you can just, plug some numbers in. It's not that simple to do, not because the process is complicated, but when you're picking, there's just a few variations. For example, if you start at gold, you're then switching from gold to silver and back to gold. If you're starting at silver, you're then going from silver to gold and back to silver. So there's some variation there. The other thing is that to make 10% depends where you start from. For example, and just to keep the numbers really simple, if you are at a ratio of 50 and you want to make 10%, the ratio has to go up by 5. If you are at 100 and you want to make 10%, the ratio has to go up by 10. So it depends where you are to what 10% looks like. So that's why we did have a look at doing it, but there's too many moving parts for it to stay simple. We would just say, look at the graph, pick 2 points, and on the workshop next week, we're going to be showing you some simple calculations you can do to work out from where I am, how do I get 10%? But it's better doing it that way than just having something you plug in. Plus, if you're just plugging it in, I don't know, maybe there's a bit less that you can see stuff for yourself and that you're actually getting involved with it. I think there's some value in doing that and seeing how it all works. As far as setting alerts, there's not a website I've seen, but we've not looked extensively. I'm sure you'll be able to find something that will give you alerts. But again, as James said, it's long term. It's not moving wildly it's not like crypto 30% up and down in a day, which we're not knocking crypto, but it's a different beast. So you don't need to be sat there all day. Yeah. I
just have a quick look every day, mate. I literally take 10 seconds. I'll have a quick look and see what it is. And that's it,
And the majority of the time, you look at the ratio, and it's not at a point that you need to do anything, whether to make the first switch or to switch back. So the vast majority, you look at the number, and the action resulting from that number is do nothing. You just look at it and go, yep, do nothing, just stay in it. Can you recommend a company in the UK to buy silver? Yeah, get in contact with us. We'll show you the company we use and see if it's right for you. We'll tell you why we use them. We've used them for the last six years now, something like that. And we've helped a couple of thousand people do the same over that time. Other question. What is the company in the US that deals with pensions, conversion without retiring? Again, contact us. We'll send you all their details. You fill in a form and then they contact you. So just get in contact with us. And go to goldbusters.co.uk, click on contact us, and then you'll be able to fill in a question. And then we'll just literally ping an email back with all the links and everything. Do I have to sell my physical gold and silver to put it in a vault to do the switching? It wouldn't really be possible, and I don't think it'd be worth it. When you work it out, you probably wouldn't want to do it, because if you've got metals in your home, especially silver, you've already paid the VAT. Then you've got to, if it was possible, you'd have to then you'd have to ship those metals, which is the cost. It would be your cost, and then you'd start looking at switching. And I don't think, as far as I know, if you've paid VAT on silver out of a vault when you then put it into a vault that you get the VAT back. I don't think you do.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
There's, again, too many moving parts to do that, to make it efficient, because all of this is about making it efficient, and you need to lower those costs at every level. So I don't think you'd really want to do it when you break down the numbers. Oh, we've had someone said they've contacted a few days ago and not had a response. I'll have a look into that. Sometimes it takes us a few days to get in contact with people, because we call you and we have an old-fashioned conversation and say, what is it that you want? How can we help you? So we have thought about automating everything, but it just takes the personal touch away, and we'd rather chat with you and find out the best thing for you.
So it takes a lot more time, but we'd rather do it that way, won't we?
Yeah. How are we doing for time? Time's moving on, blimey.
I think. Nearly 10 to.
Okay, let me just go through some of the questions that people have emailed in. Oh, someone's asked, is there a minimum amount to get started? Can you add to it every day, every month, instead of putting it into a savings account? There's no minimum to get started. So yeah, any amount. There's certain amounts that make sense more than others. As in, if you're doing an amount that wasn't interesting to you, then yeah, in the past we've seen people that say, oh, gold's just not really doing anything, metals aren't doing anything. But the amount that they've got of those metals is not a level that's interesting to them. And we say interesting rather than a certain figure because it's very individual. When metals go up, they go up in the same percentage for everybody. So again, 20% increase is 20%, whether it's on £100 or 100,000. It's what's interesting to you that will keep you engaged, and you'll either say it's good or bad. Pension company in the UK, don't have anyone at the minute. As soon as we do, and we found a really good solution, we will be shouting from the rooftops, because there's so many people that want. And
we are actively looking at it, Adam. We've got a guy wanted to buy a pensions guy wanted to buy some gold from us, and we've been in touch with him, and he's a local guy to me. So hopefully we'll be meeting up with him soon. So yeah.
But again, we'll do our research and explore the options, make sure it's good.
They have to be the right people. They have to be the right company for us. They have to fit. They have to have the same ethos. You know where we're coming from.
Someone just put here: is there a warehouse fee? Yeah, so there's a fee for having your metals in the vault. It's tiny. When you work out what you'd be saving compared to the VAT, you'd do it all day long. No question. Let me just go to some of these questions that we've had previously. This is quite interesting. Well, we think it's interesting. Someone's put, isn't it a bit late in the day to buy precious metals? How would you answer that, James, if someone said that to you? Is it a bit late in the day? Have we missed the boat?
No, you never missed the boat. No chance. We'll be buying forever, won't we? So, I mean, I buy every 2 weeks. And then if the price of metals drops, if I've got some spare cash, I'll buy more. I'll always buy. I won't stop buying. It's never too late. The only wrong time to buy is tomorrow, isn't it? In our view.
Yeah, and I think if you can switch as well, then doesn't matter if the price doesn't matter if the price stays the same. If you can generate more metals at the same price, again, you win. Question here.
If it's a long term, if it's a long term thing, then but if people are only looking to buy for a few years, then we'd say, again, without advising, we'd say this isn't best. This probably isn't right for you. Depends on your situation.
Yeah. How to buy and sell at or very close to the spot price. You can't buy at the spot price. If you went up to a gold refinery with £10 million, $10 million, 10 million euros, you would still pay above the spot price. So please don't waste your time looking for places to buy under the spot price. It just doesn't exist. I've seen I've had emails from people and things saying, oh, we can get metals below the spot price, and we just need a deposit up front or all this. Please don't get sucked into it. Don't waste your time doing it. It doesn't exist. What you'd be better doing is what we've shown you today, and that is or what we're going to show you next week, is buy metals above the spot price like everyone else does, and then generate free metals, so that when you do the calculation of what you would have paid for your pot, it's actually below the spot price. So that's technically how you do it. Let's see what else we've got here.
So can I just add one more bit to that bit just quickly about the spot price? As Adam said, we've had a lot of people approach us about this. We sort of roll our eyes a bit now because we've had so many people come to us in the past saying about the spot price, they can get the gold cheaper. A lot of the time, when we do dig into it and look right into it, it's because they haven't got the quality gold that we've got either. Because we only deal with gold with all the right markings that are gold, they've got the right stamps. You know, the 999.9. A lot of these people are buying gold that isn't the same quality as our gold. It isn't 999.9. It isn't pure gold. You know, does that make sense, Adam?
Yeah, sure. I know there was a.
Sometimes I have to check myself to get carried away. Yeah.
There was a guy.
We've had it a few times, haven't we? Where people have come to us and we've looked into it and they've gone, yeah, but that's not. You know, it's not. It's not got the markings of the London Bullion. I forgot. I've had a mind blank.
It's the LBMA.
LBMA, yeah.
The London Bullion
Association.
Yeah, that's it. Again, you got to compare apples and apples, haven't you? You know, if you've got metal that's of a less purity, it's going to be cheaper, but you get what you pay for in that scenario.
And we only deal with the best, don't we? With the best quality.
Yeah. Question here, what about bullion by post? Bullion by post are, we used to buy from many years ago.
I used to buy them, yeah.
They are a reputable company. They've got a lot of options, but it's not one size fits all. You got to look at what your preference is. For us, the way we do it, we like to be able to switch metals and have a few other options that we've not seen any other company give. For us, the way we do it, we wanted the full package, the full solution. And some companies had elements of that, but we wanted everything. We were greedy in that sense.
Well, it's not saying we haven't sent a few people to them, is it, Adam?
Yeah,
we sent a few people to them because, like we said earlier, not many people benefit. As in, we don't send many people other places, but we still do. If we think something else is better for them, then we'll send them that way.
Yeah, for sure. Someone's put, you mentioned in one of your videos about a way of selling near the spot price. The way the company that we use, look, if you get in contact with us and we have a chat, we'll say, look, this is the best option for you, or actually this is the best option. Selling at the spot price is an advantage for most people, but if you're wanting, you know, like we get people ring us up and say, look, I want this bar of gold, only this bar of gold, and I'm going to bury it in the garden. Well, that's a very different avenue to go down than someone that wants to buy silver, put it in the vault to save the VAT, and wants to switch metals. So this is why it's not one size fits all, and why we chat with you and say, look, we think this is the best option for you. We'll tell you all the options and then say, look, we think this is the best from what you've told us. Sorry, another question just come in. If you buy for the long term, but you need metals in a couple of years, can you take it out in an emergency? Yeah, I think you'll always be able to find a company that will buy metals from you at any point, whoever you use. You know, metals aren't going away. So I think I'm just looking at all the questions and the time. I think from all the questions that have come in, we've pretty much covered them in some way, shape or form. Please get in contact with us. If we've not called you back, then please forgive us. Get in contact with us and drop us another, just bug us. Sometimes happens is we call, we leave a message, but they don't always go through or whatever. We've had that quite a few times. But yeah, we want to chat with you. So please get in contact. We're here to help you.
And just mention about the emails too again, Adam, because sometimes we get straight back to people emails, but they're not getting through to people, are they?
Yeah, we've had. I don't know what happens. I'm not technically minded enough, but sometimes emails go into junk folders or they don't get there or whatever. We've had that quite a lot. Who knows what that reason is? But if the best thing to do, if you know how to do this, is put the email address adam@goldbusters.co.uk as an approved email address on your emails. And that goes some way to making sure that your emails are actually, the emails we send out are actually received.
Yeah. On my emails, I'll just tick a box saying it's not junk. But yeah,
there's options. So great. Well, look, just before we go, if you want to learn more about all the switching and all that kind of stuff, next Friday, 8 p.m. UK time, we're going to be going through start to finish about how it works and the calculations. You can ask questions and really get a good grip of it. And yeah, if there's any other way we can help you, please get in contact with us. We'd be happy to chat with you and find the best solution for you. So,
yeah, and please visit our channels, guys and girls, our BitChute channel, our YouTube channel, and yeah, we've got a lot of information on there now. We've got quite a lot of content on there which you'll benefit from.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Telegram even better. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll speak soon.
Hey, take care, everyone. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.